Hello, this is Tomasz Lachociński for Touch Plus, and welcome to the next part of modeling of Hern. This is part devoted to modeling of stick. So now go to UV layout, and now we can turn on rainbow image that we have loaded with the previous scene. And as we can see, while modeling, we get pretty mess in UV viewport, so delete this displays implicit map and select texture and press clear with a right click. So now we got nice clean geometry, and we need to create UV seams, but one problem is present. Symmetry doesn't work on this, so go to geometry, symmetry tool, and resymmetrize this mesh. And now we can double click on edge loops and select seams for creating UVs. As you can see, I'm using up arrow to select more. I'm just selecting two edges to set the direction, and then up arrow to select more. Okay, and we need to select also here. And now we need to select those edges, so up arrow, up arrow, up arrow. Alright, we can deselect those and select also this part of the upper lid. Okay, we can go up here and just add in the middle of the head, and we can just go down with a selection to the bottom, and now we need to create some circle around this area where the branch was cut down from this Hern stake. So now we get a nice circle. Okay, and we can add selection even more. Okay, and up arrow to select more. And now we need to do the same for this branch left over. So create circle around this cut, and we are going to select some more edges down the Hern stake. So up arrow again, up arrow again. Symmetry cannot work here because we did model this part to be not symmetrical, so we have to do it manually. As you can see now, up arrow, okay, and we are at the bottom. So now we need to make also the circle selection around the very bottom of the stick. Okay, now we can get back top. Let's do some cuts around base. Okay, we need to split this to smaller parts. Then we will stitch them, but this way will be much easier to unwrap this. Okay, because we have many polygons facing many different directions, Modo will have some trouble to determine where the facing polygons are. So we need to split in those smaller parts to make easier for Modo to understand where the main normal vectors are facing. So double click on this edge, and we can deselect this part also. Okay, and we can now do the base of the antlers. So select this in the nice circle, and also deselect this, and also deselect this. Okay, add some edges, just like so. And I'm using only up arrow to do that, so shift select and up arrow again, and we can just select those edges. Too much, okay. We can just, I believe it's quite good, and we need to go with the seams to other part of antlers. Now let's split this spike over here. I believe that we should deselect all those edges and give those edges a proper stage so they can be used as seam. Okay, we need to cut this spike and just go over there to cut this spike. Note that I'm trying to make as much smaller parts as possible for cutting, for Modo to have not trouble with this complicated geometry. So I'm trying to have some logical pieces to that, so I just usually cut base of this antler spike as a one geometry and cut it in half, just like so. So as you can see, I'm cutting in half this the very tip of this antler spike. Okay, I'm trying to avoid a long and complicated part of geometry because we will be having some skew there and distortions. So the more it's look like a square or rectangle, the better it will be in our relaxing and creating UV maps. So as you can see, we need to think where to place each individual edge cut. Okay, and we can just go around this spike, and basically I'm just cutting the base of the spike. As you can see, it is now cut it, and we can go in the middle over there and in this side also. So select again. Alright, select this part and up arrow until you hit next part of the spike. And I believe we can move over there. We got lucky, so now we can go on with selecting edges. I believe we can deselect this, and I believe that we should add some edges down here. So let me see where to place them. Alright, we can just go with the flow over there. Okay, and this is not symmetrical, so we need to cut this and create a circle around that. Okay, and I believe we are now. We can also make it over here and just finish this cut, and also we can just delete those and then go to unwrap tool and press on the screen. As you can see, Modo have diced our geometry. We can change different initial projection types to see what we are like, and I believe the group normal is the best because we have small groups. As I said before, the Modo will easily determine where the most of the polygons are facing. so it has to do with normal projection. And I can see we now can do the relax stuff. So press relax, and you can see that we can now, let's relax this part, activate relax tool, set it to 400, 4000, I'm sorry, and press on the screen. Now the shape is more relaxed. We got polygons that are nearly quads and squares. So let's do for the other side. Select polygons and press UV relax and wait for Modo to calculate this relaxation. Alright. It is relaxed, so we're going to do next. Let's do this part. So select polygons, press UV relax, and wait for Modo to calculate. It sometimes takes a while, but now Modo is going through all polygons and try to make them as square as possible, and they all should cover the same amount of space that they do in 3D world for now. As you can see, the morph map is telling us that all polygons are being relaxed. These relaxed polygons are more greenish, and the red ones are too small and blue ones are too big. So if you had greenish polygons across your entire UV layout, this is good, because this way you won't have any scaling issues when painting textures. So now let's relax all the parts of the hand. I don't recommend relaxing all UV island at once, because it could hang Modo or just crash it, because there are too many cases that Modo should reconsider. This will be problematic. So as you can see, UV relax is taking time to do, but we get some errors over here, and we will deal with this particular part in a different way. So now we got relaxed one more time, now with a better result, and this skewing thing happened, this distortion, because we got distorted geometry in the 3D world as well. So we will have to fix this, but I believe for now we can just rotate this and do all the rest of the stick and leave this problematic area to solve in the later. So we got this part and press UV relax. As you can see, some of the polygons were colored red, some of them were slightly blue, and now Modo will try to make them all green, which means that they occupy the same amount of space as they do in 3D viewport. Alright, I believe the model is finished. So now let's refine these pieces. Actually, we don't need so many UV islands in painting, because we have too many UV sims, and we should make those UV islands much bigger. So we should get rid of some of the sims. Now just select those parts, and we need to select those edges with up arrow and go to move and sew and press to select it. And now we got one bigger UV island. So select those polygons in UV viewport and move them with the move tool. And now we need to stitch it. So select this edge and up arrow and press select it. Okay. And we can now rebuild UV islands to have as low UV seams as we can. The fewer the UV seams, the better. So now we can go for this part, and you can just practice stitching all those parts. Actually, we don't need to see what we are stitching, and we can see in viewport that this is corresponding UV island. Alright, and we can see which UV island we want to stitch with. So now select those, and we can color these polygons, and we can see them in the viewport. So select those and go to selected and select all those edges and go to move and show and select it. As you can see, now we can move this part, so we can select those edges and press selected, and we can select those edges also. I believe we are going very well. So now select those edges and press select it, and again select those edges at the bottom and select it, and go to again select that. As you can see, Modo has got all tools that you can use in manipulating the UV islands, so the UVing can be very fun and intuitive in Modo. So select some edges and move and so select it. As you can see, now we getting rid of unwanted UV seams. We will be left with as low count as we can. The fewer we've got, the better our texture will be. So now we need to rotate this bottom part of Hern stick. So select those edges, and as you can see, sometimes it happens with some skewing and some distortion, so we need to take a different approach. We need to stitch to the other side. Okay, and now as you can see, I'm selecting this and press selected and selecting those edges and press selected, and this time Modo will stitched in the right way. So sometimes the order of stitching matters, and if you get errors stitching one side to the other, try to reverse this process. So as you can see in my case, it worked very well. So select those edges, and I believe we can do upper part, so select this, and we got this distorted part now, but we will finish the other side. So select this and press selected, and now we can select those edges and press selected again, and select these edges and press selected again, and we got some distortions going on, so we need to change this. I double click and selected all those polygons, and now And because of this distortion in 3D space, we got some bad things happening. So double click on this and go to UV pillar. As you can see, we got bad even UV pillar, so delete all those information from UV, and now select this and again activate UV pillar, and now Modo is right. Now Modo have create great UV map for this, unhide rest of the mesh and move it down to one side of the UDIM, and now we can just move this and scale it on the U. Okay, as you can see, we got no distortions this time, and we will just have to split this. Now select half of this, activate move tool, and we wanted to create separate UV islands, so tick turn off, and now you got nice UV island. Activate scale tool, Alt X to scale this in local, and I believe we can now almost ready for packing of this texture. So we got some small UV islands over here, but I believe we can now press pack UVs, set gaps to 5%, and wait for Modo to pack. Okay, so we've got packed UVs, and we need to improve something because we got some errors on the mesh itself. So select those parts with an eye and move it to the next UDIM. Okay, and we need to scale them. So double click on this, activate scale tool, and scale this up, and move them. Okay, and now with element move tool, change action center to automatic, and now you can tweak position of individual vertices. So as you remember from previous parts, when you use element move tool, you can click on any element, edge, vertex or polygon, and you can just move it. So you can quickly refine this UV island. As you can see, I'm selecting edge, vertices, edge, vertices, all with very much speed. So now select these island and rotate this, and we can go to front view, and now select only antlers and shift up arrow to select only the antlers itself, and press pack UV. So we need to cancel this and shift H to hide unselected, and now pack UVs. We will have UDIM for the antler part, and activate transform and move one unit in the viewport and hide it. Now select all remaining pieces and pack UVs. Okay, but the pack did not work very well, so we need to do it manually, I guess. So select this part, select this part, activate move tool, and move it above the rest of it. So select the eye parts and move them to the head area of Hern stick, and I think we need to select this part. When the branch was cut, the branch left over, and we need to reproject this. So select all, and as you can see we got 2 UV islands, and we need to go to UV projection tool, unwrap tool, and press on the screen, and now we got perfect circle. So scale this and place just above existing UV islands. Okay, and we got some small leftovers, so double click on them, and we need to locate them in 3D viewport, but this is the bottom of our stick, so press UV projection tool and unwrap tool again, so we got now one elegant piece. So it is here, and also it is here. So now we can just reproject, and we can scale this down, okay, and we can just rotate this UV islands to fit in our 0 to 1 space in the first UDIM. Okay, and we can now place it over here. And we can scale this up to take as much space as we need, and we can just reposition action center and scale this up. Okay, and we now should place this over here, and those parts we can try to fit and rotate this and move it just over here. Okay, bring closer together those cutted branches. Okay, and we need to scale this up. Alright, and now bring this to the center and rotate, and I believe we are almost done with this UDIM. Okay, so we can just move it a little bit closer and even closer to this, and make sure that any of these UV patches don't stick out from the UDIM itself, because Maria will ignore it, and they have to fit in 0 to 1 space. So make sure we got now, and we can now move it 1 in V direction, okay, to the next UDIM, and we can now make this head part of the Hern stick. So select all, pack UVs, press OK, and Modo will pack for us, but we have to do it manually. I don't use stretch mode with packing UVs, I don't like it. Of course you can do it. And now we can project from view these eyelids, and we can scale this down, but we won't do it for the outside eyelids, so we can do it only for the part that are hidden. So go to polygon and move this. Alright, so this is inner part, and we should select only these insides. So cut this. And now we got created all inside of the eye socket. And I believe we can now have this eyelet top. Okay, selected. And we are done. So now let's rotate this back side of the head and place it over there in the move tool, and also we can scale and rotate the front of the head, and we can scale it. We should scale this a little, and now we can scale both at once, and we can fit into first UDIM. Alright, scale this a little bit more. Now move it. Alright. And hide everything. Press U on keyboard. And now we've got perfect UV islands for painting. So move this, and we should move this to that UDIM. So we go to perspective view. As you can see, now we've got text. We got UV mapped all Hern stick, and that's it for this part of the tutorial. Join me next time. Thank you.